The first round of the French presidential election is now just 12 months away, and a new poll gives the clearest indication yet of where things stand. Jordan Bardella of the far-right National Rally is on course to win comfortably, according to the poll, with far-left Jean-Luc Mélenchon and centre-right Edouard Philippe currently holding joint second place. I'm joined now in the studio by our French politics editor, Marc Perelman. Good to have you with us, Marc. This new poll shows that the race is very much tightening for the candidate set to face the frontrunner, Jordan Bardella of the far right.
Yes, one thing that's really been there for months now is that the National Rally is all but guaranteed to be in the second round and well ahead in the second round. For months now, the polls have been showing that either Marine Le Pen, or if she cannot go as is expected because of her legal trouble, her lieutenant Jordan Bardella, are leading the polls way ahead with over 30% of the polls. This hasn't changed. And so the big question is who gets to face her or him in the second round. And there, it's really very hard to see. Edouard Philippe, who was Emmanuel Macron's first prime minister, has thrown his hat into the ring for several months. Now he says, I want to be a candidate, and so on. But he has been ahead of all the other candidates in the poll. This poll shows that things might be changing. You see him losing 4 percentage points from a previous similar poll back in March. And the beneficiary is the far-left candidate, Jean-Luc Mélenchon, who has in recent weeks officially declared his candidacy after saying last time around when he nearly made it to the second round that he probably wouldn't run again. He's not running again, and he's probably getting this bump we see in the poll with 4 more points, and they're neck and neck for the second place. So this shows that it's extremely close. Nothing is set in stone. We know that, yes, there will be Jean-Luc Mélenchon on the far left, Jordan Bardella or Marine Le Pen on the far right. But in between, it's extremely, extremely difficult to see. Yes, Edouard Philippe is being seen as a strong candidate, but if according to this polls, he's not really leading all the other candidates, well, many are ready to jump into the fray. And there may be an unheard number of candidates or would-be candidates ready to throw their hats into the ring because they believe it's going to be very, very tight for second place. So even if you don't get a lot of percentage, even less than 20%, you could make it to the second round. So from the Communist Party to the Socialists, to the Greens, to the center-right, to the right, there are numbers of candidates. It would take too much time really to give you a whole list.
Well, former Prime Minister Gabriel Attal officially launched his candidacy just a few days ago. Is there any chance of him replicating what Macron managed back in 2017? That's
his secret hope, and that's why he decided to throw his hat into the ring. He was not in the poll we just saw, and he is now launching a blitz campaigning really every day. And he said, my campaign is going to be every day on the ground with the real people, because he's often criticized as being too Parisian, too elite, too young. Probably he was Emmanuel Macron's prime minister as well, as was Edouard Philippe, but he really took his distance from Emmanuel Macron. They barely speak. He has not been really appointed as the heir of Emmanuel Macron. None of them have. Edouard Philippe is also taking his distance from Edouard Philippe. So you're now seeing Gabriel Attal and Edouard Philippe, they're essentially, there'll be only one standing in the end. So Gabriel Attal saying, I'm trying to show that I'm talking to the common people. He went to an agricultural farm. While Edouard Philippe is always saying, everyone knows who I am, what I stand for. So today, for instance, he was in Kiev. He met with President Zelensky, probably to bolster his foreign affairs, diplomatic credentials, because this is what a president is supposed to do. But there might also be some other candidates on the center-right right side of the aisle. Bruno Retailleau has already declared his candidacy for the Conservative Party, Les Républicains, clearly more to the right than Gabriel Attal and Edouard Philippe. But there are many other outsiders, Xavier Bertrand, David Lisnard, the mayor of Cannes. They're waiting to see essentially what the polls will say, because either the polls will decide or there'll be a primary organized on the right and, by the way, also on the left to make sure there is a candidate. But how do you decide a primary between people who don't belong to the same parties? Some are not wanting such a primary this year. We'll see. We'll see when the dust settles who can really remain standing against Jean-Luc Mélenchon on one hand and Jordan Bardella on the other hand.